Building this rack has been a dream come true when handling these totes. I now can just pick whichever one I want, and they're nice and organized. So I'm going to show you how to build one. Well, I'm kind of going to show you how to build one with a lot of shenanigans and other things in between. But by the end, you can build one. I took some time to come up with a drawing for what I need. I should mostly be able to use all the wood from tearing down that unit. So here is the drawing. Take a screenshot of that if you want. Here's for my size. My totes are this size, so just my idea is a couple uprights, some shelves to slide them in on. And I'm going to do the corners with lap joints. We'll show you all that. So coming up with a drawing like this, though, really helps me visualize and come up with a cut list of everything that I need. What I need to do is I need to get all of the wood brought up from downstairs here into the shop. I'm going to get everything cut, start cutting my lap joints, and then we can get it all put together. It should be fairly straightforward, I think. So I'm going to get going on that, and everything I'm sure is just going to go together fine. Or not. We'll see. I'm going to tape on my dust collection here. Now it's very crude, but it works. Well, it works sometimes. And then it falls off. Then I have to pick it back up over and over again. That's fine. Okay. Okay. This will be enough. It's back a little bit. How did I do? I have to go this way there. Safety first. Okay. So the right thing to do here is to have a fence with a stop block, you know, a nice miter station, perfect dust collection, but we don't have any of that. So I do the right thing, just use a screw in my table. Put that in a little bit. Slide it up. Perfect cut. They don't need to be exact for this project anyway, just rough. Great. Let's leave that over here, actually. Okay. Putting this on wheels was the best thing I ever did. If you want to see the build of this, let me know. I mean, I don't have video footage, but I have pictures of it. I can run you through it. Okay, next plan. I got all the 2x4s cut to length. Now I'm going to take and cut all of those plywood sheets down. They are 2 foot by 8 foot panels. I'm going to leave the 24 inches deep. I'm going to cut them all at 20 inches. Roof them all down using the old table saw here. Oh, not that way. this way. Okay. So I got all the 2x2s cut to length. Tearing those apart was a chore and a half. Go ahead and look up the price of a 2x2. Go ahead. Okay, you done? Yeah, I will pay that price any day over tearing those things apart. Not a good idea. Now I need to get all of the lap joints cut on this, which was a great idea by me. I don't know why I decided to do that. That's just, it's going to be a lot. I have to cut a lot of lap joints, but I kind of got it set up here. Try to be as quick as I can. So I got this one marked here. Essentially what I'm doing is I'm cutting from here to the end only halfway up. It'll create sort of an L shape. And I'm going to do that on either end of every 2x4. And then those will fit together. So instead of one 2x4, so instead of the 2x4s being on top of each other like that, they will fit perfectly together and be flush. Just makes for a nicer fit and actually a stronger joint than just screwing them together. So what I've done is I've got a stop block set up. You never want to run your miter gauge up against your fence like this. That's dangerous. So what I've done is I've set a stop block here to my fence so I can just run this up against that. And then that will give me my first cut. And then I'll just slide this way, you know, and make 400,000 million cuts and then clean it up. So I'm going to get going on that. And I'll see you in, I don't know, next year maybe, and we'll be ready to put this back together. Great. Well, here's the thing. So I had decided that I was going to do lap joints on all of the 2x4s. And what I didn't think about is cutting 32 lap joints in total from all my boards with a table saw with no dado stack, because I don't have one of those. What I'm going to do, so here's one that I already cut. You can see now, it takes quite a while to do it the way that I was doing it, which I'll give you a demonstration. I had a stop block set up here, not my fence. And then with the miter dealio, I just went like that, you know, back and forth a million times, cut it out, cleaned it with a chisel. Well, that's going to take forever. And I don't have forever. So I'm also just figuring all of this out for the first time. Just being honest. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a jig that goes over my table saw fence and makes it so I can do cuts like this. I guess you'd call that vertical. Because, you know, it's not very stable to try and run, you know, a board through this way. Like, if I can have my hand right here, then it's not too bad. But obviously, there's a spinning blade down there, so I want to keep my hands away. So I'm going to build this, which will extend the fence up high, and then it'll give it a little bit more stability up here. I'll use a feather board, and then a push stick. I have these plastic push sticks somewhere around here. And hopefully all of those things together will make it able for me to cut it once this way, cut it this way here, and then use a handsaw to finish that off. So, and I think in the end, that will be less work than using the table saw and then a chisel and whatever. We'll see. And if not, at least I have this jig made up. And it's gonna work good enough for my purposes, I think. So what I have to do now is I'm gonna put these up next to each other, and then I need to figure out the distance between these two boards, cut that, then I'm gonna glue and brad nail it together, or do I just nail it? I think I glue it. That sounds right to me. So I'm just going to measure that distance, cut the board, do the stuff, and then I probably won't film any of it. Sorry, but I don't have a lot of space on my phone. Told you what I'm gonna do. All right, here we go. This is an old, beat up compressor. So, update. I got the piece cut. It turned out pretty good, I think. I'm only clamped down here. You can see pretty snug fit. I think what I'm going to do, I think this is pretty good. I am going to glue it, and then I'm going to brad nail a couple times at least. And I think that should stay together just fine for me. I don't do a whole lot of work right now. Maybe we'll upgrade it in the future, but I think this will work for now. I got my brad nailer. Get over here. I'm just gonna do it right on the fence here. I'm gonna try my hardest to not get glue all over the fence, but after I brad nail it, I'll just pull it off and wipe it down. So, okay, here it goes. I think I'll just, oh, goodness. Not a lot. I'm not putting a lot. I don't want it to squeeze out all over my fence. Being honest, this is really fibrous on the sides here, so it's probably going to soak up most of that, now that I think about it. Yep, I'm just going to set that there. That's the move. Just go like this. I'm going to clamp it. And now I'm going to shoot a few brad nails right into the side of my fence. Should probably move all that stuff out of my way. Let's see. I should. Gosh dang it. I don't have a lot of time. But what I need to do, panicking, glue is setting, running out of time. This is why you should think everything. Oh, yep, that's okay. Hopefully we don't follow that. All right. And I don't know about that side. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Let's get this one for now. Yeah, this is a great idea. Looks like it's doing pretty good. Also could do this. 8.5. That worked really well. Write that one down. Remind me of that later. That worked pretty good. I really don't want to mess this up. Man, what's the worst I got? Come on, you got 50 foot of hose. Just follow me. Let's see. Let's just do it. Okay. I mean, it should be held together, right? Okay. Now you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to hit this with a hammer. I missed one, and it was on the low side. but didn't go through the fence. All right, pretty good fit, I think. Not terribly snug, but I'm gonna go put a few clamps on this. Well, I told the wife I was coming out here to pick up the garage, so now that I've done a bunch of work, I should probably pick up the garage and then go inside. I'll come back to that. I'll just let that dry. And I think that is gonna be the ticket. So we'll pick this up the next day that I have available. I might be wearing the same clothes because I have like 3 shirts. Well, it's the next day. I let this dry overnight, and as you can see, it fits very nicely. Just like that. Now what this is going to allow me to do, and I've already tested it out this morning, and you can add this to the list of things that you see me do, but you should not do, which is run any power tools, which I should not be doing. So now this is going to allow me to run these boards this way, and it doesn't get all the way, but then I can finish it off with a handsaw, and it'll have a good enough groove that the handsaw will be already straight. I tried this with my 10-inch blade. However, this is a 40 tooth, I believe, and it's just too much. This table saw really bogs down. If I have this all the way up, really what I should do is probably have this down, run it through, and then lift it up and run it through again. But honestly, even just the 7 1/4 inch blade here, this is a 24 tooth, that gets up high enough, and my handsaw is pretty sharp, so it cuts through it fairly quickly. So I have gone through and cut all of these on all the boards I need to do, and then I will just run it through this way, finish it with a handsaw, and it should be light years faster. Now, my method here, I'll get this all set up and then I'll run you through kind of how I'm trying to approach this in a safe manner. First, I'll get this. My method here is I've got the feather board, I've got this locked into place, and then I'm going to use also this push stick here, and I'm going to get it started like this, and then once it gets to a certain point, then I take over and I grab a hold of this, locking this 90 in with the board keeps pressure up against the fence this way, but then I can also push this way, and I kind of try to stabilize it with the top here and run it through all the way, and that's it. The last couple I did turned out pretty good. Wasn't really too sketchy, but you know, I already said this before, but don't, don't repeat my stuff. Watch a professional, please. It's going to be much safer than I am. So now all I'm going to do is just going to clamp this into here, nice and tight. Just like that. That's going to be just fine. Still lock them in tight there, but you get the idea. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these cut. And then I got to figure out how to do, these boards are 70 inches long, and I don't think I can That was way better than I was doing it on the table saw. I think 1 or 2 on there, that would be fine. But for a lot like this, that was much faster to build that jig and run it through the table saw. And I could have done even better. I think I could use that 10-inch blade, run it through once, kind of low, and then once again, higher up would be all right, but this was okay. Now, the biggest headache, I think, is going to be to get the lap joints cut on these. Because as far as that table saw trick goes, I mean, they're really tall. But that's the step I'm on. I gotta figure it out. You know, this is where you build the experience, and this is what I'm doing. I mean, I'm filming this without even really knowing how to do this because I just want to prove to the world that you can figure it out. You know, there's a lot of gatekeepers out there, the very experienced, that mock the inexperienced for what they're doing. But how else do you learn? You can't just know. I mean, I've been reading books, watching YouTube, but I don't have a handcrafted wood shop around here that I can just internship, do an internship with, get all that knowledge. So just got to figure it out on my own, and hopefully I have all 10 fingers when I'm done. I'm going to figure out what to do with these, how to get the lap joints cut on these, and then I will probably do that off camera because it's going to be incredibly sketchy and absolutely dangerous. Nobody should ever do that, but I'm going to get it done and come back. Okay. I figured it out. So I went and made all of the perpendicular cuts here. And then now I'm just using my circular saw. Once this way, flip it. Once that way, finish it off with the thing. Not even a big deal. We got this. Nice. Okay, day 346 of this build. I'm out of time. If there was a watch, it would say out of time. I needed to get this built. I finally am ready for assembly, I believe. What we're gonna do, I'm gonna use my workbench here, lay out all the pieces. These all now just fit together like Lincoln logs. If you remember those, let me know. So I'm gonna lay these out, a little bit of glue, a couple screws in each one. Probably try to check for square, at least a little bit. And then I'm gonna take all of my 2x2s and I will measure them out accordingly, attach them however it is that they go. And then we'll do all of the uprights, get all of them done. I will then bring them down into the basement to where I will do final assembly, which includes, but is not limited to, the installation of these panels, which I will then, here, upright on this side, we'll be good to go. So, here we go. It's done. We're here. We made it. Man, it's sturdy. I'm gonna get you in here and show you kind of everything that I did. I did get a hyperlapse of building the uprights, which I'm sure you've already seen. But I didn't take any footage of me actually assembling the rest of it. My brother helped me out a little bit. But it came together very nicely. I am so impressed with this. Super, super sturdy. And here's some of the totes, and you can see, I mean, perfect fit. I knew they were going to stick out a little bit, but that was because of the size of the lumber that I was repurposing. I just wanted to make as few cuts as possible, so I just left it, and it sticks out a couple inches, but not a big deal. I'm going to get all of these put in here, but first, I'm going to give you a little close-up here. The lighting kind of sucks, so you'll just have to bear with me. So, I mean, pretty simple design, but it turned out so great. Put a few screws in each board here on each side. Now, if I'm being honest, fastening all the boards to these pieces while they're standing up was honestly a bad choice. They were just, they want to fall all over until you get them screwed together. So a better idea would be to lay them on the ground, fasten them together that way, and then pick the whole thing up, which is what I should have done, but I didn't. I had my brother, though. He held on to one, I held on to one. We just screwed it all together. But this is the final results. Sorry about the crappy lighting. It is what it is, as they say. I think I'm going to put another sheet of plywood all the way across the top here, and then I'll have even some additional storage space. But this thing, I mean, I'll put the camera down and show you how hard I can push on this thing, and it is not moving. That just increased over time. The first couple boards I put in, it was rickety. A couple more, still rickety, a little better. By the time you get all of them, it's like, okay, it's solid. And then I put 3 screws in per side, per board. Also, the lap joints, I think, were a good idea. It just came together very nicely. Let's get this thing loaded up here. They fit so nicely. Some of these are pretty dirty. The place I used to have them stored was not really protected from the weather, so that's why everything's in totes. Well, that's going to do it for me. I'm so glad to get this done. It took me forever, but I learned a lot. So leave me comments, tips, suggestions on how I can get better. I appreciate you sticking around. Hit the buttons if you can, please. I don't want to have to ask you to do that. Sorry. But anyway, we'll see you again next time. And hopefully the build will be even harder.